Hey everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving into a topic that's fundamental to all of biology, evolution. Now, when you hear the word evolution, what comes to mind? Maybe you think of monkeys turning into humans, or dinosaurs roaming the earth. While those are part of the larger story, the scientific definition of evolution is actually much more precise. At its core, biological evolution is simply a change in the heritable characteristics of biological populations over successive generations. Let's break that down. Heritable characteristics are traits that can be passed down from parents to offspring through genes. Think of eye color, hair type, or even things you can't see, like a predisposition to certain diseases. Biological populations refers to a group of individuals of the same species living in the same area. And over successive generations means this isn't a change that happens to one individual in their lifetime. It's a gradual shift that we see when we compare grandparents to grandchildren to great-grandchildren, so on, over a very long time. So evolution isn't about an individual animal deciding to change. A single giraffe can't just stretch its neck longer because it wants to reach higher leaves. Instead, evolution happens at the population level. Imagine a population of ancient giraffes. Some naturally had slightly longer necks than others due to random genetic variation, just like some people are naturally taller than others. If having a slightly longer neck allowed those giraffes to eat more food, they would be healthier, live longer, and have more babies. Because neck length is a heritable trait, their babies would likely inherit those longer necks. Over many generations, this small advantage would add up. The giraffes with longer necks would consistently have more offspring, and the gene for longer necks would become more and more common in the population. Eventually, the entire population would have, on average, much longer necks than their distant ancestors. That's evolution in a nutshell, a change in the frequency of heritable traits within a population over time. It's a common misconception that evolution has a goal or is striving towards perfection. That's not the case. Evolution is a non-random process, but it's not guided. It's simply the result of organisms interacting with their environment. A trait that's advantageous in one environment might be neutral or even disadvantageous in another. For example, a polar bear's thick white fur is a fantastic adaptation for the Arctic, but it would be a huge disadvantage in a tropical rainforest. The environment sets the challenges, and populations adapt or evolve in response. So, who came up with this revolutionary idea? Well, many thinkers throughout history had toyed with the idea of species changing over time. It was Charles, Darwin, and Alfred Russel Wallace who independently proposed the primary mechanism for how it happens: natural selection. In the mid-19th century, Darwin published his groundbreaking book On the Origin of Species, which laid out a massive amount of evidence for evolution and proposed natural selection as its main driving force. Darwin's idea was both simple and profound. He made 4 key observations about the natural world. First, individuals within a population vary. Just look around you, no two people are exactly alike. This is called variation. Second, some of these variations are heritable. You inherit traits from your parents. Third, organisms produce more offspring than can possibly survive. Think of a sea turtle laying hundreds of eggs, but only a few making it to adulthood. This leads to a struggle for existence. And fourth, and this is the crucial part, individuals with heritable traits that are better suited to their environment are more likely to survive, reproduce, and pass those advantageous traits on to their offspring. This is what he called natural selection. Over long periods, this process leads to adaptations, features that make an organism better suited to its environment, and can eventually lead to the formation of entirely new species. It's important to remember that Darwin didn't know about genes or DNA. That piece of the puzzle came later, with the work of Gregor Mendel and the subsequent rise of genetics. When Darwin's theory of natural selection was combined with our understanding of genetics in the early 20th century, it formed what we now call the modern synthesis of evolutionary theory. This synthesis provides a powerful and comprehensive framework for understanding the history of life on Earth. Today, the evidence for evolution is overwhelming and comes from many different fields of science. The fossil record shows a clear progression of life forms over millions of years, with transitional fossils linking different groups, like the famous Archaeopteryx, which has features of both dinosaurs and birds. Comparative anatomy reveals homologous structures, like the forelimbs of humans, cats, whales, and bats. They have different functions, but they share the same basic bone structure, pointing to a common ancestor. Then there's embryology. The embryos of very different vertebrates, like fish, chickens, and humans, look remarkably similar in their early stages, suggesting a shared evolutionary history. But perhaps the most powerful evidence comes from molecular biology. We can compare the DNA and protein sequences of different species. The more closely related a species are, the more similar their DNA will be. The genetic code itself is nearly universal, a shared language that links almost all life on Earth. From bacteria to blue whales, to a single common ancestor deep in the past. So, to recap, evolution is the change in heritable traits of populations over generations. It's not about individuals changing in their lifetime, but about the genetic makeup of a population shifting over time. It's a cornerstone of modern biology that explains the incredible diversity of life we see around us in our own place. Within that web of life, it's a beautifully elegant explanation for how simple life forms could, over billions of years, give rise to all the complexity and wonder of the natural world. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this helps clarify what scientists mean when they talk about evolution. It's a huge topic, and we've only scratched the surface today. In our next videos, we'll dive deeper into the specific mechanisms that drive this change, like natural selection, genetic drift, and gene flow. If you found this interesting, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next exploration into the amazing world of biology. See you next time.